אדוני היושב-ראש,
Mr. Speaker, my dear fellow members of
אני מבקש
Knesset,
לשמור על שקט. חברי הכנסת, חבר הכנסת רוטמן, נא לשבת. נא לשמור על שקט. בבקשה, אדוני.
תודה רבה, אדוני היושב-ראש, חברי הכנסת, השבעת הממשלה
the swearing in of the
היא העברת
government is passing the baton, and we pass it on not with a quiet heart to the elected government. And at a moment like this, the Knesset and the citizens of Israel should be given an orderly report on the state of the nation. Out of respect for this situation, I'd like to give a report of what the previous government did, first led by Naftali Bennett, whom I'd like to thank, and then under me, in order to prevent attempts to rewrite history. It should be clear what the state of the state was when the previous government took over. Netanyahu just said that the first task is to halt the Iran from growing stronger, and I agree with that. Contrary to all the forecasts and prophecies of doom, our government managed to stop the re-signing of the deal with Iran. It involved complex diplomatic efforts, some under the radar, with the American government and Europe. The result is well known. The agreement was not signed. The sanctions on Iran remained in force and were expanded. The Revolutionary Guards were not removed from the lists of terror groups. The files in the International Atomic Agency were not closed. And we signed the historical Jerusalem Declaration that included agreement with the principle that Israel has the right to protect itself and to stop the Iranian nuclearization in any way Israel sees fit, and that included an American commitment to economic cooperation to an unprecedented extent. During our term, Israel carried out a long list of known and unknown actions to stop Iran from growing stronger. We increased the effort to weaken Iran's hold on Syria, and further than that, we planned and renewed security projects that were neglected to preserve and improve Israel's attack capabilities. Some of them were neglected, and we restored them to action. All this was done with an intense and sometimes decisive dialogue with the Americans, but also by strengthening Israel's position in the United States. We did not pay any price. We did not agree to allow an American consulate in Jerusalem, in East Jerusalem. We did not, of course, agree, contrary to some publications, to allow the Americans any veto over Israeli actions. And of course, we did not allow any international investigations of IDF soldiers or officers. We continued to strengthen the Abraham Accords. We opened ambassadors and legations in the UAE and in Bahrain and Morocco. We continued talks with the Saudis to enable Israeli planes to fly over Saudi Arabia, to enable Israeli Arabs to fly directly to Mecca during the Hajj. And we also set the foundations for the full Saudi joining of the Abraham Accords. If the new government continues on the path that we have paved, then we will be able to reach full normalization with the Saudis within a not too long time. We opened the Negem Forum for the economy with Egypt, Morocco, Bahrain, and the United States. I held talks with the King of Jordan, and with the right diplomatic treatment, the Jordanians will join the forum too. We opened the IUT forum with India and the United States, which is already building economic projects throughout the Middle East and opening new markets to Israel. We renewed relations with Turkey. There is an ambassador in Ankara. We signed an aviation agreement with the Turks, and we have a joint economic commission. We have appointed 74 new ambassadors. We have rebuilt the national diplomacy system, especially digital. We fought successfully against the Fourth Durban Convention, an anti-Semitic convention, and we caused many countries to refuse to participate. We signed the Horizon Agreement with the EU. These are agreements that in recent years will cause Israeli science and innovation to move forward and improve our relations within Europe. We signed a historic marine agreement with Lebanon that ensures the security and energy interests of Israel in the north. We signed a strategic agreement, the first of its kind, with the UK, and we signed a free trade agreement with the United Arab Emirates and with African states. In the security area, the past year and a half have been the quietest in the Gaza periphery for many years. As will be recalled, our government was sworn in immediately after the riots. And so that these events would not be repeated, we introduced a policy of zero tolerance on the southern border with Gaza. In August of this year, we set out on a campaign to fight the terror of the Islamic Jihad, one of the fastest and most effective and lethal campaigns. And the senior leadership of the Islamic Jihad was destroyed without Israel having a single fatality. And in July there was the campaign to lower the level of terror in the Palestinian Authority, and the IDF continues to do that work in Nablus, in Jenin, anywhere where there are attempts to harm Israel. After many years, we restored the policy of targeted assassinations of terrorist leaders. I would like to clarify that although we have heard a lot of unsubstantiated talk about this, the rules of engagement are clear to every IDF soldier. If someone wants to kill you, kill him first. Those are the rules. Despite all the threats and contrary to the past, we insisted on holding the flag parade in Jerusalem on its original route, and we held the Jerusalem Day celebrations, and we maintained the status quo on the Temple Mount, and a record number of Jews went up to the Temple Mount in the past year, and the month of Ramadan passed quietly. We raised the salary of soldiers to 50%. We introduced a program to pay for 50% of the tuition for anyone who has served in the IDF. I consider that an expression of national priorities, in that our government placed at the top of its priorities those who serve in the IDF, the young people who risk their lives to defend our lives and our borders. We passed the reform for soldiers suffering from PTSD, and I would like to especially commend MK Gantz because it was so important to him. government managed to extract Israel from the corona crisis without a single closure. We were the first country in the world that's had booster shots. Health Minister Nitzan Minister led this campaign very well, and I congratulate him. In the economic area, The Economist, the most important economic journal in the world, last week published that Israel is the fourth strongest economy in the world. A lot of credit goes to the outgoing finance minister Avigdor Lieberman, that for his responsible leadership. We managed to pass a budget for the first time in 3 years, and it included a number of historical reforms in energy, transportation, and industry, and also the pension age for women and parallel imports. I have to mention some figures. During the past year, from November to November, the state had a budget surplus of 3 billion shekels, and the revenues grew by 3.5%. Israel's exports grew by 21%, and in 2022 it will cross the $26 billion. And inflation is 3 points. Inflation is now 5.1. It's too high, but it's still much lower compared to the situation in Europe and the United States. The government has contended, like every other government in the past 15 years,
with
the cost of living, which has become very serious, and we introduced a number of reforms, like in agriculture, the parallel import, and introduced cheaper supermarket chains like Carrefour, and the Carrefour products are available everywhere, and they're much cheaper than similar products. And of course, the number one cause of the cost of living in the last 15 years, housing, led by Minister Elkin. The government doubled the number of transactions and led to a record number of building starts and the number of discounted apartments. And we see at the end of the first quarter of 2023, we'll see a drop in housing prices if the construction continues at the scope until now, and this decrease should continue. The first task, the prime task of the Israeli economy in coming years will be to bring as many people as possible into the workforce. Led by Orna Barbibai, the Minister of Economy, a reform was undertaken in 2021. 70,000 people graduated from vocational training, and in 2022 the number was even higher. The government increased the support for the LGBT community to a record high, and increased the support for women's organization and the fight against violence against women to new records. The government presented a national program to fight the climate crisis, similar to the most advanced countries in the world. We activated the 5-year plan for the Arab society in Israel. In the past year, it was budgeted at 5.5 billion shekels, and of course, the program to fight violence in Arab society, and it placed a great deal of pressure on criminals, and there's a great deal more that still needs to be done. I'd like to say something on a personal note. As for me, the greatest achievement in the past year was that I was Prime Minister, but that we passed the law for people with disabilities. This week I met with the Director General of the Minister of Welfare, and I am sure that the next Minister Margi understands how important this law is and that the families are waiting for it with bated breath. Those are the main things. We are giving over to you a state in a very good situation with a strong economy, with improved deterrence, with an international status of the highest ever. Try not to destroy it. We're coming right back. Thank you very much.